Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is your captain speaking. First, I'd like to welcome everyone on Alighieri flight Paradiso 33. We are currently cruising at a poetic altitude, flying at a divine airspeed, outside time and space. The weather in the Empyrean heaven is clear and sunny. As we ascend, we should be able to get a great view of God. We remind you that this is a non-singing flight. Singing is prohibited on the entire aircraft, including the lavatories. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying the lavatory sing detectors is prohibited by law. Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our ascent, please make sure to be on the edge of your seats and that your mind is in its full upright position. Make sure your attention is securely fastened and your negative luggage is stored underneath the seat in front of you or in the overhead lockers. Please turn off all electronic devices until we are safely parked in the Empyrean. Thank you. Flight attendants, prepare for beautiful poetry, please. Cabin crew, please take your seats for heaven climbing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Empyrean. There is no local time. We are outside of space. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your attention securely fastened until the captain turns off the fasten attention sign. This evening, I'm telling you a story of loss, of stress, of bliss. A story told 700 years ago by an Italian poet, Dante Alighieri, from Florence. In his poem, The Divine Comedy, Dante imagined to journey still alive in the afterlife. Dante loved the poetry of ancient Rome and imagined to be guided during the first part of his journey through hell and purgatory by one of these ancient poets, by Virgil. Dante loved beauty and imagined to be guided during the second part of his journey through heaven by the love of his youth, a lady called Beatrice, from the Latin Beatrix, she who makes happy. In the story, Dante is granted to see what happens to humans after death. The souls of those who die in sin go to hell. The souls of those who die in the grace of God either are carried to purgatory to be purified, or they go directly to heaven to be forever happy. But today, people seem not to be yearning for happiness. Today, we may read that hell is chosen as city of culture. Today, many people think that hell is fun. Today, for many people, Dante just means Inferno. But Dante tells us of a journey from hell, through purgatory, to paradise. Dante points to a light in the darkness. You may wonder, why should you hear from me about a story which is very remote to you, very medieval, written 700 years ago? The story of a journey to hell, where the wicked are punished, to purgatory, where the repentant purge their sins, to paradise, where the blessed enjoy the vision of God. Why? Because the abyss of hell, the mountain of purgatory, the spheres of heaven, Dante's afterlife are all here in this life. Now we earn punishment. Now we struggle, now we earn reward. Dante is one of us. We all are Dante. Hell is not fun. Hell is the distress, the despair, the depression caused by the tragic human refusal to become divine. Heaven is the light, the glory, the joy of having said yes to divine call to be more than human. Heaven is the joy to be truly human by having become transhuman. All'alta fantasia qui mancò possa. Ma già volgeva il mio disio e il velle, sì come rota ch'igualmente è mossa l'amor che muove il sole e l'altre stelle. The end. The last lines of the Divine Comedy. The moment the power of imagination fails Dante. Dante meets God. But how did Dante get to this point, to this moment? A moment outside time, a point beyond space. The cosmos of Dante. At the center, the earth, its lands, its seas. Around, the spheres of air, fire, then the spheres of the 7 planetary circles, the zodiac, the primum mobile, the heaven that divides the physical world from the empyrean, the realm of God. How did Dante get there? The journey began on the other side of the earth, in the dark wood, the very beginning of the poem. In a dark wood, Dante is lost, stuck, desperate for help, about to embark on an extraordinary journey. In the darkness, Dante is eager to find the light. Nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita, mi ritrovai in una selva oscura che la dritta via era smarrita. Ah, e a dir qual era e cosa dura esta selva selvaggia e aspra e forte, che nel pensier rinnova la paura, tante amara che poco più è morte. Ma per dir del ben chi vi trovai, dirò dell'altre cose chi vo scorte. Dante has lost the right path, the right path. Dante ends up in a dark wood, a scary wood. Only to think about that is so terrible. But Dante has found good things there. And he's going to tell us about these good things. This is how Salvador Dalí has depicted the right path that Dante lost. And this is how you can see the same right path that you shouldn't abandon. Suddenly, a guide appears. Virgil, a great poet, a master, a model. Virgil warns Dante, you must pass through the darkness to reach the light, under the ground to reach the height, through hell to get to heaven. Abandon every hope, all you who enter the gate of hell. Virgil takes Dante by the hand. The way down is the only way up. The vestibule, those who never choose either good or evil in their lives. Charon, a demon, carries the damned across the river Acheron. Limbo, no salvation for pagans, Whatever good they do, however good they are, even classical poets, even Virgil, are confined in limbo. They haven't been baptized, but no torment in limbo, just sorrow. The stairs to the second circle, guarded by Minos, the judge of the underworld. A violent wind blows there. Souls are swept around, the lustful. Dante notices a man and a woman bound together. The gluttonous lie in a mixture of putrid water under an eternal dirty rain, tormented by a monster. The prodigal, the avaricious, they push weights with their chests, they hurl abuse at one another. The river Styx, the angry, covered in mud, consumed with anger, they bite at each other. Bubbles come to the surface, the gloomy are submerged in the mud. Phlegyas, the boatman, takes Virgil and Dante across the river Styx to the city of Satan. Wolves, flames, fires, the heretics inside burning tombs, the violence against neighbor, boiled in a river of blood, the centaurs shoot at them. Violence against themselves, suicides, squanderers, turned into trees, wounded by the harpies, chased by dogs. Violence against God, the blasphemers, under a rain of fire, prone on the sand, running around. Violence against nature, the sodomites, forced to walk under the rain of fire for all eternity. Violence against art, the usurers. On the right, you see Dante and Virgil on the back of a monster, a hybrid beast. The face friendly, human, the body monstrous, reptile. Geryon, a symbol of fraud. On the back of that monster, Dante and Virgil descend into the abyss, from crimes of violence to crimes of fraud. A big chasm, because fraud is much worse than violence, more displeasing to God, lower down in the pit. Male bolge, evil pouches, a pit of despair. The deceivers defaced, desecrated, disfigured the divine gift of intelligence. They used their intelligence to deceive their neighbors. 10 ditches, 10 forms of fraudulence. Panders, seducers, scourged by demons. Flatterers plunged into human excrement. Simonists, corrupt priests, stack upside down their feet in flames. Diviners, the heads twisted around, condemned to look backward for all eternity. Corrupt public servants, ducked in boiling pitch by demons. Hypocrites, they struggle to walk in their heavy garments. Thieves, transformed into serpents of all kinds, tormenting each other. Evil counselors, enveloped in burning flames. Sores of scandal and schism, split apart, mutilated. Falsifiers, covered in scabs. From Malebolge, a giant lowers Dante and Virgil on the very bottom of hell. The lake of Cocytus, a frozen lake, where traitors are punished, frozen in ice. Traitors of relatives, of compatriots, of guests, of benefactors. At the narrowest point of hell, at the center of the earth, at the center of the material universe, Dante sees Lucifer, the arch traitor. 3 faces, 3 mouths, chewing 3 traitors. Brutus and Cassius, the killers of Caesar, Judas, who sold Christ. Behind these 3 faces is found all the evil in the universe. Dante and Virgil grasp the hair of Lucifer, make the way down the frozen flank of the monster. They reach the center of the earth. They keep descending beyond the center of the earth, and Dante discovers that he's been going up. Dante has been descending, but as a matter of fact, from the bottom, Dante ascends to re-emerge through a tunnel on the other side of the earth, in the southern hemisphere. In the darkness, Dante could see that there was light at the end of the tunnel. Dante emerged to the light beneath an open sky studded with stars. On the shore of a mountain island, Purgatory, the mountain that rises highest from the sea, the mountain that stretches closest to heaven from the earth, the mountain where the souls purge their evil tendencies. To understand Dante's vision of purgatory, we need to understand what Dante thought about free will, about corruption, about love. What is love? For Dante, we all love. Everything we do is because of love. For Dante, everything loves. Stones love, plants love, animals love, human beings love. We are naturally endowed with this impulse to love. We have a natural love, and then we have an elective love, because we can direct our love. This is very important for Dante, and I think also for us today. There is nothing wrong for Dante to have love for sensuality. There's nothing wrong to search for pleasures, to enjoy food, to work in order to become rich. But for Dante, we need to measure all these loves, to organize all these loves, and to direct everything to the greater love of God. The contentio mundi, the scorn of the world, or the medieval mystics, is not a scorn of the world in itself. It's the need to include these different loves, the love for earthly pleasure and things, within the real love, which is the love of God. And it's the only way to enjoy this. So in Dante's Purgatory, there are 7 terraces for purification. Purification from evil tendencies, from love directed to a wrong object, the worst forms of misdirected love, pride, envy, anger. Purification from a lazy love for good things, not enough love of God, sloth. And purification from excessive love for passing goods, purification from avarice, from gluttony, from lust. Finally, here on the top of the mountain of purgatory, we find the Garden of Eden, paradise on earth, where the original innocence is recovered. The perfect human nature is restored. Dante kneels in reverence in front of Cato of Utica, the champion of political liberty, the hero of freedom of conscience, the guardian of purgatory. The morning air is fresh, the sun is rising. After so much distress, Virgil washes the face of Dante with morning dew. Dante is cleansed of the filth of hell. On the shore of the island, meeting various kinds of purging souls. On the way up to the mountain, climbing, resting, Dante falls asleep. Dante dreams of an eagle. In the meantime, Saint Lucy carries Dante asleep in her arms up to the gate of Purgatory proper. A door, 3 steps, an angel. Dante falls to his knees. The angel unlocks the door. On the first terrace, the proud are making penance, bowed under the weight of massive rocks, heavy on their shoulders. Good to learn humility. Second terrace, envy. The souls have their eyelids sewn up with wire. This should prevent them from seeing and envying the good fortune of others. Third terrace, anger. The souls are enveloped by smoke. Because of the emotional fire of rage, it is impossible to see. And if you don't see, you better move cautiously. Fourth terrace, sloth. The souls weep, the souls run, the souls call out examples of quick decisions. Fifth terrace, avarice. The souls are bound face down on the ground. They need to learn not to be obsessed with the goods of the earth. Statius appears, another Latin poet. Statius had just completed his purification. Statius joins the group. Sixth terrace, gluttony. The souls would love to pick that fruit, but they can't. They keep losing weight. Dante, Virgil, Statius ascend the stairs in the rock. Seventh terrace, lust. The souls walk through flames. The souls recite examples of chastity. Through the flames, beyond the flames, Dante, Virgil, Statius reach the Garden of Eden. By the way, even in Purgatory, you find low-cost airlines. The Garden of Eden is the place where Adam and Eve lived in bliss at the beginning of time. The Garden of Eden is the place where Dante reshapes his human nature, rediscovers his purity, gets in tune with his deepest desires. Here, Dante meets a beautiful, mysterious lady, Matilda. Matilda explains to Dante the nature, the meaning of the earthly paradise. Then, an allegorical chariot appears, a symbol of the church. There is someone in the chariot. Beatrice, my love. Yes, it's me. Yes, I am Beatrice. But what are you doing here? How did you dare approach this holy garden? Don't you know that here man lives in joy? Vain desires, empty promises. I forgot you. I'm so guilty. I'm so sorry. Dante weeps. Beatrice is so beautiful. Dante drinks from the holy waters of 2 streams. The pain is removed, the joy is revived. Dante becomes pure, ready to trespass a boundary never crossed by any mortal. This boundary, the boundary between what is below and what is above. The boundary between the earth, below the moon, where all follows a cycle of birth, growth, death, and the heavens, above the moon, where the planets, the stars do not change, do not die. They are eternal. From now on, Dante is no longer led by the natural light of reason, by Virgil, but by Beatrice, the true light of faith, the love of his youth. With Beatrice, from Eden, Dante rises up to the celestial spheres. From the Garden of Eden at the top of the mountain Purgatory, Dante and Beatrice ascend to heaven. So let us follow them. I wouldn't fly cheaper with Dante Air, the low fares afterlife airline. Let's fly with Beatrice Airways. I know they now charge for in-flight food, but only for short flights. I'm sure when you fly to the Empyrean, you will get your onboard food and drinks for free. The first heaven, the moon, the inconstant. Dante meets Piccarda. The second heaven, Mercury, the ambitious. Dante meets the Emperor Justinian. The third heaven, Venus, the lovers. Dante meets Charles Martel, Cunizia da Romano. The fourth heaven, the sun, the wise. Dante meets Thomas Aquinas, Albert the Great, or the wise people. Thomas praises St. Francis of Assisi, Bonaventure, St. Dominic. The fifth heaven, Mars, the warriors of the faith, a triumphant cross of light. Dante meets Cacciaguida, the ancestor of Dante, a crusader. Cacciaguida tells Dante of his exile to come, but also of his mission. The sixth heaven, Jupiter, the just rulers, a huge eagle. The seventh heaven, Saturn, the contemplatives. Dante meets Peter Damian, St. Benedict. After the seven planetary spheres, Dante enters the heaven of the fixed stars, the eighth heaven. Right now, the sun is moving through the constellation of Gemini. Dante is born into eternity under the same constellation he was born on earth and in time, Gemini. Dante is blinded by the light. Dante sees more. Led by Beatrice, Dante reaches the ninth heaven, the last heaven of the physical universe, the primum mobile, the heaven moved directly by God, the heaven that moves all the other heavens, the source of all time, the source of all measure. Then Dante enters the Empyrean, the heaven that includes all the visible universe, full of light, full of love, but nothing here is visible, nothing corporeal. The second boundary of the cosmos, the boundary between the visible, corporeal world and the invisible, incorporeal world. Dante crosses this boundary. Now, here, Dante is always, never, everywhere, nowhere, beyond time, outside space. Dante sees a river of light. From the river of light, sparks fly. Sparks drop back into the river. Sparks become angels, blessed spirits. The river of light becomes the heavenly Jerusalem, a radiant rose, a garden. Dante must imparadisarsi, in paradise himself, indiarsi, in God himself, trasumanare, go beyond the human. Dante reaches the third, the final passage, the boundary between the creation and the creator. Eventually, Dante has a glimpse of the mystery of God. Dante sees all that light transform itself into three circles in one space. Within the circle of light, Dante sees a human figure. How does the human figure fit in the circle? How does the divine combine with the human with the divine? Was it a vision? It was a flash of light, sudden, blinding. But the vision has disappeared. Dante, the great poet, is lost for words. The imagination of Dante fails. Dante is caught up in the turning of the wheel of the love that moves the sun and the other stars. All'alta fantasia qui mancò possa, ma già volgeva il mio disio e il velle, sì come rota ch'igualmente è mossa, l'amor che muove il sole e l'altre stelle.